Welcome, Pewter Report readers, viewers, and listeners to a brand new edition of the Pewter Report podcast, energized by Celsius. Hope everybody had a great weekend and that the start of this week is already going well for you. It was a very fun Monday because we got to talk to some Tampa Bay Buccaneers players. That doesn't necessarily go on crazy often during the offseason, but not only did we speak to Rachaad White and Kyle Trask that you see on the graphic here, we also spoke to arguably the best offensive tackle in football, an all-pro offensive tackle that might be playing a new position next season on the left side of the ball in Tristan Wirfs. So a lot of fun things to break down between talking to Tristan, Kyle, and Rashad on today's show. I'm your host, Matt Matera. Joined with me is the face that runs the place at pewterreport.com. It is SR Scott Reynolds. Scott, great to be back talking to you. And of course, this podcast is energized by Celsius, the official sponsor of pewterreport.com. But Scott, how are you?
I'm doing great. It's always fun to talk to Buccaneer players in the offseason. It's a rare occurrence, but today we got three. And of course, on the graphic, we talked about Kyle Trask and Rachaad White. Didn't know who that third guy was going to be until today, until he walked in the doors. And honestly, he was the star of the show, Tristan Wirfs, your right tackle and possibly maybe your left tackle of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Yes, it was a mystery Buccaneer and hit the nail on the head. It was the most exciting out of all of them. And, you know, we were a little behind schedule with having the players come out. We're like, oh man, I hope it's a good third athlete that we get. And Rachaad White actually went on last. It was Kyle Trask that went first. And then Tristan comes in, gives his signature, howdy, howdy. It's been a while. So, it's just good to see Tristan Wirfs. And obviously, he's in a very unique situation this year. Usually when you have an all-pro player at any position, you're like, all right, we're good. We're set. We know that he's our guy. And Tristan Wirfs is still their guy, of course. But maybe it's not the biggest storyline of this offseason. Obviously, Kyle Trask and Baker Mayfield, I think, is up there. Dave Canales being offensive coordinator, everything with Devin White. But Tristan Wirfs potentially moving over from the right side of the offensive line at right tackle over to left tackle is one of the biggest storylines. When you have your best player who's accomplished a lot in this league, could potentially have his most challenging season yet just because he's doing the team a solid by moving to a new spot.
And really, I know there's some fans out there that are saying, why would you want to ruin a good thing, right? This is an all-pro right tackle, a Pro Bowl, two-time Pro Bowl guy. Why in the world would you want to, to mess with the good thing? I'm telling you, folks, I'm not going to bet against Tristan Wirfs and his athleticism. The dude can jump out of a pool. He's 6'5", 345 pounds, and moves like a gazelle on the field. He is a special athlete. And in my opinion, I'm not going to say he can't do it until he shows me he can't do it, Matt. I think this is a good move. It's the off season. Why not go out there and see if you can't get a left tackle in-house, a guy that's mastered the right side, and give him the entire offseason training camp, et cetera, because what if he is just as good, Matt, and Pewter people out there, at the left side as he is on the right side? What if that's a possibility? And I think it might even be a probability.
Then that's the best move that the Bucs could potentially make, because we're not just talking about having a good left tackle. You hope you get a good left tackle. We're not even talking about a great left tackle. We could be talking about the best left tackle in the history of the Buccaneers franchise, and maybe one of the best tackles of all time. Obviously, he's got a very long way to go before that, but just the potential and the skill set and the athlete that Tristan Wirfs is. I mean, if he moves over to the left side, that is a slam dunk, especially when we talk about all the tackles in this year's draft, Darnell Wright being one of them at Tennessee. Some of the guys that you could draft to get your right tackle for next season. Also, the Bucs signed Matt Filer towards the end of last week, and so they have options at right tackle. But, there's been a lot of questions, uncertainty. Like Todd Bowles has been asked about it. Jason Light's been asked about it, both at the Combine and speaking to Jason Licht during his pre-draft press conference last week. there's a lot of, yes, we're thinking about it, we're getting into it, but we haven't heard it straight from the horse's mouth just
That's
yet.
right.
And like, there's videos on Twitter of like Tristan Wirfs at a Lightning game. You're catching him off guard. I don't know if that's the fair sign to be like, are you going to left tackle?
Yeah.
But we got to hear from him straight today. What's the plan, man? Are you moving to left tackle? Are you thinking about it?
Yeah.
What's the option?
Well, let's hear it from Tristan's mouth.
Let's hear from Tristan Wirfs about what's going on with the left side at offensive tackle.
There's a lot of talk about the offensive line. There's still a draft to go. We've asked you incessantly about left, right, left. Where are you at? Just kind of wait and see mode, or have you been working some?
Yeah,
and the chance that you might have.
Yeah, I've definitely been working it just in case. I've been working both, just covering my bases. Not only anything's been confirmed. I've been seeing what everyone on Twitter says. So we'll wait till the draft. We'll wait till we sign somebody or whatever happens. So whatever happens. I'll be ready. But yeah, I have been working it.
Yeah, I mean, it makes a lot of sense to give him a try this offseason at that position. And again, I think the player that they're targeting in this draft, we had him in our last Pewter Report mock draft. There's a pretty good chance he might be in our final mock draft, Matt. It's a player that the Buccaneers have had in for a top 30 visit. They interviewed formally at the Combine. And we're talking about Darnell Wright, the right tackle for Tennessee. And he's played left tackle also. So he's a guy that has played left tackle as a junior, had his best senior season at right tackle. So a player that can play both, but probably better on the right side. You've liked him really since the Senior Bowl. He was a standout to you. You kind of brought our attention like, hey, check out this Tennessee right tackle here. And I think if the board fell their way and if he is available, and don't rule out Jason Licht moving up a couple spots, Matt, to get him. We saw that work out pretty well with Tristan Wirfs moving up one spot to get the best tackle, not just in that draft class in 2020, but also one of the best tackles in the league today. So it seems like the Buccaneers, like that is definitely an option that they're strongly considering, right?
Yeah, without question. Just to speak quickly on Darnell Wright, I think he would be an awesome fit with the Bucs. He's obviously got the size. He's just massive, and he engulfs everybody. And he's actually better as a pass blocker than he is a run blocker, which goes a little bit against the new philosophy of the Bucs offense, and most notably offensive coordinator Dave Canales. But I think he is mobile enough and can move around. And just the fact that you'll have a solid player on the right side. And more importantly, just the competition he went up against with Will Anderson out of Alabama, B.J. Ojulari out of LSU, just some of the top pass rushers in the league, literally everybody at Georgia. I should say pass rushers in college football.
Yeah.
You win those matchups, you impress me. And that's why I like Darnell Wright so much. So if you have enough confidence, and the Bucs are kind of going back to their old playbook when they drafted Tristan Wirfs of, all right, we're going to throw our rookie offensive tackle out there at right tackle and see if he sinks or swim. And I mean, not only did Tristan Wirfs swim, he essentially was Michael Phelps and Katie Ledecky all rolled into one. Yeah. So it's certainly, there's the risk with bringing in a rookie to play offensive tackle, but hey, you're going to have one hell of a mentor with Tristan Wirfs. You're going to have another great person to learn from, even though it's a different position, but with Ryan Jensen.
Let's not forget, this team not only started Donovan Smith as a rookie left tackle in 2015, but also Ali Marpet as a rookie right guard, right? So they had two rookies that year in 2015. They had Tristan Wirfs, a starter, as a rookie in 2020. So when you draft an offensive lineman, offensive tackle in the situation in the first round, that's going to happen. And I think that Darnell Wright, being a 3-year starter at Tennessee, certainly has the credentials to do that. He's one of the 16 we've identified in terms of the top 30 pre-visits. You can see the tracker right there. Hendon Hooker, Will Levis, Clayton Tune. They've had 3 quarterbacks in Rashawn Johnson, Jamar Gibbs, the running backs, Darnell Wright, and Chris Murray, who's probably going to be an undrafted free agent or like a 7th-round pick from Oklahoma. He's a guard that'll play center in the next level. Luke Schoonmaker from Michigan, the defensive lineman, Adetomiwa Adebaware from Northwestern, and Carl Brooks from Bowling Green. Outside linebackers, you mentioned B.J. Ojulari from LSU. He's been in for a visit along with Nolan Smith from Georgia, Lucas Van Ness from Iowa, Felix Enudike Uzama from Kansas State, Marte Mapu, another player you were high on at the Senior Bowl, Matt, from Sacramento State, might be playing safety at the next level, but they had him playing linebacker at the Senior Bowl. And then with cornerbacks, Julius Brents from Kansas State. So those are the 16 players we've identified from media reports. And we had Julius Brents text us that he's going to be visiting Tampa probably this week. So we got 16 out of the 30. Over the weekend, didn't hear any other top 30 names. We'll have our eyes and ears peeled for that this week. But getting back to today's topics, so Tristan Wirfs, he talked about the wide zone run scheme that Dave Canales is going to be bringing in, and he's used to that playing at Iowa. So let's get into some of the scheme that the Buccaneers are going to be running. I mean, they don't even have their playbooks yet, Matt. This was the first day where Canales was addressing a room full of offensive players, a lot of them young, according to Trask and Rachaad White and Tristan Wirfs. I think all three of them realized Tom Brady's no longer in the building. This is a young offensive group here, but very impressed by what he heard from Dave Canales.
Yes, he was. Let's get to that video.
Yeah, I think Coach Canales is awesome. I think today was really the first time I got to hear, all of us got to really hear him, kind of talk. And today we really just went through, our offensive philosophy, just, what we want to do as an offense and how we want to get it done. I've had a couple conversations with him, just, I've been here all offseason training, just bumping into him in the hallway. But I think he's awesome. I think it's going to be great. I'm really excited. And, I know all the O-lines are really excited to get cracking on the playbook.
Now comes a guy that says, I'm all about running the football. We're going to do it. And does anything get you more excited than that when you know they're committed to it?
Yeah, I think all offensive linemen want to run the ball. And when, a guy comes in and says, this is what we're going to do, this is going to be our identity, and, we're going to base things off of the run game and get our explosives off of that and tie everything up. So it's gonna be good. I'm excited. Just we got a little taste of it today, So I don't even
no playbooks yet.
I don't even know anything, and I'm just excited. I just saw the philosophy thing, and I was ready to go. So
you know what Seattle did?
Yeah. Watching them, I'm playing against them. So, but no, I'm excited.
Good stuff there from Wirfs. He's fired up. Rachaad White's fired up. Kyle Trask is fired up about this new offensive coordinator. Folks, if you can kind of sense the excitement, there's a lot of stuff that Matt and I know that we just simply can't share about what happened last year with Byron Leftwich. Okay. I think the fact that I published the Bucs were going to fire Byron Leftwich story about 4 seconds after the loss to the Cowboys that night on Monday night in the playoffs speaks volumes about the dysfunction that this team had last year on the offensive side of the ball. The players were not happy with what was happening. There were some coaches, even offensive coaches, that were not happy with Byron Leftwich, the play calling situation, the predictability, the lack of commitment to the run game. There was a lot of mess going on last year. And we could kind of get a sense of that, right, Matt? Just without Byron's name even being mentioned, just the 180 in terms of the effervescent excitement, right, from these players about this new offense. And Dave Canales is unproven. He hasn't called a damn play in the NFL or in college or anywhere. But
the Bucs must follow him on Twitter, Bucs players, I mean, because he's always tweeting out every day some quote of the day or some type of encouragement or positivity that he wants to share with everybody else. And you really could see it. It was palpable, especially someone like Kyle Trask, who we don't talk to a ton just because he was the third string quarterback. But he really described that other guys are coming in and they're eager and they're ready to learn. And Trask talked a lot about how, while it is quarterback friendly, it's not exactly simple, but it's just so helpful with putting guys in situations where they're fast and they're going to be moving and just getting the ball down the field in general. And to bring it back to Tristan Wirfs, this is right in Tristan's wheelhouse because he loves zone blocking and zone running. He absolutely loves it. He went on and on about that, how he used it at Iowa. So he's obviously really excited to kind of get back to his roots, something that he's familiar with. And there will be a little bit of a change. And he talked about the disguise of the zone game, where it looks one way and you might hammer it home 5 times, but you hit him with the okey doke, and it goes the other way. And it's just completely different than what we saw last year.
Is. And there's a little bit of misdirection there, right? It's not as predictable. The great thing is, guys, and Pewter people out there, we love you guys. And the best part about Mondays, as you know, is roll call. We do it at 4:20. And the best part about this right now being 4:17 is we have time to play this Tristan Wirfs clip talking about those wide zone runs. And right after that, boom, it's roll call. Get ready.
Do as an offensive line, to focus more on some of that.
I think it allows us to set stuff up. Like, I don't know, we could capture the edge, and then come out the other way. You know what I'm saying? So,
everything looks the same until
making it all look the same until it's not. So that'll be really nice.
Did you use that much at Iowa?
A little bit, yeah. We ran a ton of outside zone at Iowa. I don't know. We didn't come off it a whole lot, but we ran a ton of outside zone at Iowa.
But it's not foreign.
Yeah. Oh, no. I'm excited for it.
Ability, because we know you can move. We've seen you jump out of a pool. Like, you can do it.
Yeah. No. It'll definitely be fun, kind of to get back to kind of what I came from almost. And from the small glimpse of what we saw today. There's going to be a lot of of good stretch, and then kind of just, I don't want trickery isn't the right word, but it's just, I think it's very offensive line friendly. I think that's a good way to put it. It'll be really, really nice for us, and I don't know, I think it'll just help us out a lot,
Yeah, that's good stuff. He also went on to say, Matt, he loves Tom Brady, right? The greatest of all time. He had a great relationship with Brady. And he's like, but I don't think it's a surprise that, Brady couldn't run. And now we have some guys, some quarterbacks that are going to be able to run. What he means by that is the bootlegs, the waggles, the get everything flowing to the left. And then all of a sudden you come back to the right with the bootleg and a shot downfield or a shot to the flat to a wide open back or tight end, or you're running right. And then you come back to the left and you attack that weak side. So it's going to be fun this year. It's going to be a new offense, and it's going to be simpler. It's not going to be this complex Bruce Arians, Byron Leftwich scheme that they've been, incorporating, and very much like John Gruden, where if you're a veteran, and that's why Gruden loved veteran quarterbacks and not rookies, because you had to be super smart, super experienced to kind of get it. But this is going to be an offense that is offensive line friendly. It's running back and quarterback friendly, right? It's going to be easier concepts to pick up, understand, to learn quickly, and hopefully to execute much better and have more fun with. And Matt, we have fun every Monday. I mean, we have fun every time we do a Pewter podcast.
Yes, we
so
do.
Pewter Report podcasts are the best. We love them. We love talking to you, Pewter people, reading your comments, answering your questions. But there's just something special about Mondays at 4:20, Matt. What is that?
It is roll call, baby. It is always a great time when we do this on Monday. We want to know where you're at, Pewter people. Like we said, we love interacting with our fans and everybody in the chat. So we're going to start talking about really whatever we feel like talking about with the Bucs or the NFL. And
Matt, I'll take it today, if that's okay.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. And in the meantime, we'll start off with Christopher Cole, who's from Bartow, Florida. As Scott is talking away about what he's going to get into with this topic with the Bucs, I will start putting everybody's comments where they're watching from on the screen, as you can see in the left corner with Christopher Cole. So, Scott, have at it.
All right. So I did the running back position preview today. And as you probably figured out, if you were on pewterreport.com today or yesterday, we're starting our position previews. And we had Bailey kick things off on Sunday with the quarterbacks. And, of course, the quarterbacks, and we're going to cut right to the chase and just tell you our Bucs best bets. If you didn't check them out, we've got Hendon Hooker as the guy. And you might think that might be a little bit of a different pick over Will Levis. Not sure Will Levis is going to be there. I'm not sure the Buccaneers are interested in him. But check out Sunday's quarterbacks preview. Bailey did a great job with it. Hendon Hooker's one of the Bucs' best bets. Find out who the day 3 Bucs' best bet is. But I did the running back preview today. And the running backs the Buccaneers have been targeting. Remember, they brought in Rashad Johnson from Texas, who is basically the backup to Bijan Robinson for all those years. Former quarterback who transitioned from quarterback to running back and did a remarkable job at Texas, breaking tackles, catching the ball. Really not much drop off when he was in there as opposed to Bijan Robinson in terms of the Longhorns production. The other guy they brought in was former Georgia Tech running back who went to Alabama last year, Jamar Gibbs. Both these guys, 2 different runners. Gibbs is more of that 5'9", 199-pound Alvin Kamara slasher, catch the ball out of the backfield. Johnson's more of kind of like a no-nonsense type of north-south runner, a little bit of wiggle to his game. But the thing with these guys is they're great fits for the wide zone run scheme that the Bucs are going to deploy this year. And that's kind of exciting. You know, the Buccaneers, they're looking for these guys that can make things happen. Even though Gibbs is a smaller back, he will stick his nose in the pile, push for extra yardage. He's elusive with that speed. He was the fastest back at the combine, running a 4.36, even faster than Keaton Mitchell, who's a track star. And so whether it's him or more of a physical, kind of a bruising back with really good agility in Rashad Johnson, or a guy who, and we had Rashad Johnson as our Bucs' best bet for the early picks. If the Bucs are going to pick a running back, probably not going to be earlier than the 3rd round. And if they do pick one in the 3rd round, heck, they've done it before, Matt, with Rashad White, with Keyshawn Vaughn, even Charles Sims back in 2014, the first running back that Jason Licht drafted was drafted in the 3rd round. So that's kind of his round for picking running backs. And hopefully Rashad White started a trend, because Licht did not do a good job picking running back prior to last year with Rashad White. But having said that, the other guy is this guy right here, Minnesota's Mohamed Ibrahim. He is a 5'7", 210-pound bowling ball of a running back, breaking tackles, elusive, played in a wide zone run scheme in Minnesota. So he's used to looking for those cutback lanes, sticking his nose in the pile, getting extra yards, great contact balance. And that's really what the Buccaneers are looking for. They're looking for an angry runner. That's what it's been told to me. They're looking for a guy that will come in and be a violent runner. And I think if they're going to draft one, Matt, they might be tempted with Gibbs. They might be tempted with Rashad Johnson. I just think there's more pressing needs in this team, and it feels like more of a day 3 runner. And I wouldn't be surprised with them already signing Chase Edmonds, already having Keyshawn Vaughn, who is improving behind the scenes, along with Rachaad White. I don't know that they're going to spend a premium pick on a guy that would kind of come in and vie for that number 2 job behind White, and maybe even end up being the 4th guy on the depth chart. So that's why Mohamed Ibrahim might be a good option in the 6th or 7th round.
I'm in full agreement. I mean, between offensive tackle, defensive tackle, edge, and on and on and on, it just feels like why. And I understand, Bijan Robinson out of Texas, super exciting player. Yeah. Jason Licht got asked about, would you draft a running back in the 1st round? He said, yeah, if he's a game-changing player.
Right.
And even if he's available when the Bucs are on the board, I still don't even think that's a good idea. I mean, if you want to talk about great running backs of the last 5 years, whatever, right. Saquon lit the league on fire. The Giants didn't even make the playoffs in his tenure until last season. Derrick Henry, Titans were a solid team, but now they're in a rebuild mode, and the best they made it was the AFC Championship game. So right. I don't know. Even if you find an explosive, dual threat, everything type of running back, it doesn't guarantee that much success, or even that the offense is really going to be that great. And when you have one with Rashad White, just let Rashad White be the guy. I mean, he's very confident in himself. He's humble and confident all at the same time, which is
that's right.
Which is really cool to see. And we'll talk about Rashad White a little bit later. But
I was going to say, and the thing too is whether they draft a running back, whether they end up drafting a quarterback, whether they get an outside linebacker, whether they go offensive tackle in the 1st round, whoever they draft, right, over the 3 days Pewter Report's going to have it covered, and we're going to have it covered live for you guys. That's right. Once again, the Pewter Report live draft show is back, presented by Celsius, streaming on our YouTube Pewter Report TV channel. So, folks, it's going to be right here. So if you have not subscribed to Pewter Report TV, do so now. And make sure that you tune in for those dates right there. Thursday, April 27th, starting at 7 p.m. Then that's Thursday. And then Friday, April 28th at 6 p.m. And then Saturday, we wrap things up at 11 a.m. All these times are Eastern on April 29th. And if you'll notice, they're an hour before the draft actually starts. So the draft starts at 8 on Thursday, at 7 p.m. on Friday, and then at noon on Saturday. But we go that extra hour prior to the start of the draft on all 3 of those days. And again, the Pewter Report live draft show streaming on YouTube Live, Pewter Report TV. Make sure that you are here all of those days. We want to have you spend the draft with us, and we'll spend it with you, telling us, reading your comments, answering your questions. We want this to be a live, interactive, fun show like it has been in years past. We're having Josh Capo come down from Atlanta. We're going to have J.C. Allen, Bailey Adams, Adam Slavon, yours truly, Matt Matera. It's going to be a fun 3-day packed show live from One Buccaneer Place. So we're going to have live reaction from the Jason Licht and Todd Bowles press conferences. We'll have a press conference on Friday with the number 1 pick. And so it's just going to be the place to be. If you're a Buccaneer fan and you love the draft, make sure that you are streaming on our YouTube channel, Pewter Report TV, for all 3 days. And we guarantee you to put on the best show we possibly can.
Yeah, it is so much fun. You rattled off everyone at Pewter Report. We'll all be on the show at different times. We can only fit so much of us on one time. It's a lot of fun. It's like a marathon. It's almost like one of those telethons when they raise money for a charity. Like, I especially enjoy day 3 when it's like the real nitty gritty. You know, the real ones are still watching them. We've always had a great turnout, though, and I'm very excited for this again for one more time. And who knows? Maybe the Bucs won't even make a pick in the first round. They did not last year, but
that's right.
Nonetheless, still a very fun time.
Yeah. So we have a couple questions. Was Devin White there today? We're not sure. And to be fair, we didn't ask. We didn't put any of the players on the spot. I'm guessing he wasn't. That's just my guess. I haven't heard anything to say the least, but we did hear from Devin White today. And this was what Devin had to say. Interestingly enough, when Jalen Hurts got his contract extension, this is the Eagles' social media post. Keeping the main thing in Philly, we've agreed terms. Jalen Hurts on a 5-year extension through the 2028 season. Fly, Eagles, fly. Devin White with the reply, taking care of yours with that green heart. Does that green mean Eagles, Matt, or does that green mean money?
Yeah, good question.
What does that green mean? I don't know.
Money. I'm going to go
probably money. Yeah. I don't know, man. I don't know. It's interesting because before we get to Rachaad White, just to kind of put kind of a nail on the proverbial coffin press conference from Tristan Wirfs today, and he was actually full of life. He wasn't dead. I'm not bearing Tristan.
No, he was as electric as possible as he could be.
But this is what he had to say. Okay, and you tell me what names kind of come to mind here. This was a quote from Tristan Wirfs when he was asked about the Super Bowl season and the culture, because there's been, a lot of fans were up in arms when Todd Bowles said, we need to change the culture. And a lot of these fans are like, what are you talking about? We need to change the culture. That's stupid. Bruce Arians had a winning culture and you messed it up. No, that's not the case. And Tristan Wirfs kind of speaks to this. You got to read between the lines a little bit. This is what he had to say. And I quote, winning the Super Bowl was kind of like a blessing and a curse at the same time. I feel like it united some groups of people or some guys and kind of made individuals. I feel like it does that everywhere. So we want everyone to be together. Yeah, we did that with the group of people in this year. That's in the past. We're here now. We know what it takes for us to get everyone on the same page of knowing what it takes to get that done, but not letting there be any individuals. Everyone with one goal, one collective in mind, working towards the same thing. Okay, so some names that might come to mind when Tristan Wirfs was talking about the Super Bowl making individuals. Matt, Leonard Fournette comes to mind for me. Devin White comes to mind for me, right?
Oh, so is this an LSU
No,
I'm
not
kidding.
throwing,
I love LSU.
yeah, I'm not throwing any hate
listening.
towards the Tigers. Just some observations, and maybe I'm wrong, but my educated guess is right. It's just when you're possibly, and I'm not saying he is, but I don't know if Devin White will be attending the offseason program this year. It's voluntary to begin with, but is he going to be there for the OTAs? Is he going to be there for mandatory minicamp? Is he going to be there for training camp? Those are mandatory. I don't know, but he's certainly the way he's taken to social media. It seems like he's digging his heels in a little bit with this contract situation. And that's not exactly a team first approach, right?
No, especially not for a team captain. And that's why I kind of feel like for the Bucs, you just got to let him stomp his feet a little bit, get a little angry, voice his opinion. Sometimes like yelling gets a little something off for you. It's kind of Devin White is venting right now.
Yeah.
Devin White is venting, and it's really all he can do because he doesn't have much of a bargaining factor. Long Space just says, find someone who loves you the way Devin White loves the Eagles. Yeah, that's you know what? Maybe I don't know if you remember this, Scott, but in during the COVID season, Todd Bowles had mentioned that he was watching a lot of Fresh Prince. He's a big fan of Uncle Phil.
Right.
Will Smith is from Philadelphia.
That's
maybe
right. Born and raised.
Maybe Devin White and Todd Bowles bonded over Will Smith and the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Maybe.
And that's why they have such a good relationship, which I don't know if it's soured at this point, just depending on how Devin continues to go about this. To bring this full circle, if Tristan is calling out Devin without calling out Devin, and we don't know that 100% sure,
correct,
but it definitely does sound like that. That's kind of a solid step in terms of we've talked about Tristan, and you asked Tristan today about him taking more of a leadership role because he's one of the vets in the room now with everyone else, around there. And, obviously Ryan Jensen is still the guy, but then it's Tristan Wirfs. And due to the playing stature of Tristan Wirfs, that obviously goes a long way as well. So if he's calling out Devin White, I kind of respect the approach of trying to become a more involved as a team leader.
Yeah, I agree with that, Matt. And I'll say this too. This team has rewarded certain players that have achieved a certain level of excellence over a sustained period of time, which means consistency, right? Vita Vea was tagged with the 5th-year option, but he didn't play on it. He got that extension before the 5th-year option year, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mike Evans, the same thing back in the day. 5th-year option, but then didn't play on it. They extended his deal. They've chosen not to do that with Devin White. And that's the team's prerogative. Devin White doesn't have any cards on the table in this, right? I mean, he's trying to show some cards that really it's a losing hand. He could hold out, but it's not going to help him at all. He's 25 years old now. If he holds out for a new deal and doesn't play next year, he is in the exact same boat that he's in right now. He's property of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He will have to play on his 5th-year option for that money, and he's not going to be anywhere closer to getting a contract extension. He's not going to accrue a year towards free agency. So he has no option but to play. The team knows that. Jason Light's already came out and said that they're not going to trade him. He's going to have to play. But I'll tell you what right now, from what I've seen from Devin White, unless his attitude and his play take huge steps forward in 2023 on the field in a red and white and pewter uniform, I'm letting him walk after this year because I'm scared to death. If this guy's so beholden to be the highest paid or one of the highest paid inside linebackers, if you pay this guy the money, and let's say you make him on equal footing with Roquan Smith, who's actually a better linebacker, but if he's getting that type of money, what's going to happen in 2 years into his 5-year deal when he's no longer the highest paid inside linebacker? Is he going to hold out then? Right? Is he going to pull the same shenanigans and say, and I'm not saying he's holding out, but I wouldn't be surprised if he does, Matt. But what happens if he starts chirping that he wants more money a couple years down the road?
Well, at first he would have to prove it. And I think that's the whole issue with all of this is that Devin's not a bad inside linebacker. He's just a linebacker that is not worth $20 million. He's worth right around what he's going to get paid this year, which is that $11 million mark.
Exactly.
And it's all on him. If he wants that $20 million, you know what? If he balls out this year and the Bucs still go, we just don't want to pay you that much money for an inside linebacker. Yeah. Probably another team, maybe the Philadelphia Eagles, probably another team will get around that ballpark, because when there's free agency and there's bidding and two teams really want this guy, or Devin specifically in this case, he'll probably end up getting his money one way or another. You just got to prove it on the field. And what better way to show what you're worth than by having a great season? I mean,
I agree.
It's right there in front of him.
Yeah. I think the real intrigue this year is and maybe it's contingent on whether he shows up in the offseason or if he holds out, and we'll have to see. We'll have to see how that plays out. I wouldn't be surprised either way, to be honest. But let's say he is a no-show for the OTAs, and let's say he decides to hold out of the minicamp, right? And maybe he holds out of training camp, maybe he doesn't. But if he does that, Matt, it'll be interesting to see if he has that C on his chest, to see if the Bucs players vote him as a team captain again, or if this will have some residual effect on how they feel about him. Because remember, Tristan Wirfs, who will get a C on his chest this year. I'm placing bets on my bookie right now. If they had a prop bet, that would be one of them I would bet on. Tristan Wirfs will get a C on that chest this year for being a team captain. He's earned that. I think he's ready to step up in that leadership role. And he talked about that today, as you mentioned. And I just wonder if Devin is not really sabotaging how some of his teammates feel about him. With what's being said on social media. And again, we'll see if he shows up, because listen, all can be forgiven. Nothing's permanent here, but I don't think Devin White's handling the situation the right way.
Probably not the best way, but honestly, Scott, I got a little bit distracted because you're talking about the C on his, on his jersey. It reminded me of this C that I'm rocking on my polo right now, and the C that you can also notice in the corner of this podcast. Of course, I'm talking about the official energy drink of PewterReport.com, Celsius energy drinks. Of course, we love Celsius. They have a variety of flavors, a couple new ones as well, with the I call it the creamsicle one, but the fantasy vibe, and of course the sparkling lemon lime as well. Great flavors. Can't go wrong with any of them. Of course, you got the Arctic, tropical, peach vibes as well. The vibes are always high on the show.
There's a brand new one. There's a brand new one called the Oasis vibe that is
They have
sparkling.
Like almost every week. I can't keep up with it, but that's
sparkling prickly pear and lime, and it's only available at Target. And we're supposed to be getting some shipped to us from Celsius, Matt, this week. So I'm anxious to try it.
Yeah, I'm very excited. So an assortment of flavors. If you want to find out where to get a Celsius, go to the store locator on their website, punch in your address, and it will give you the closest availability to where you can find a Celsius energy drink in a can at your local Walmart, convenience store, 7-Eleven.
Say it.
Or bodega.
Bodega.
So hit up your closest bodega, get a Celsius energy drink. And then when you want it in bulk, because you know you love Celsius, get the variety pack, because variety is the spice of life. And go on Amazon. Click on the subscribe and save. Have it sent to your house or apartment every week, month, quarterly, yearly, whenever you want it. Just make sure you're drinking Celsius energy drinks, the official sponsor of the Pewter Report podcast. I know I want to get a Celsius energy drink. I know the Buccaneers want to get a starting quarterback, and they have two that they are going to be dealing with right now with Kyle Trask and Baker Mayfield. As Kieran says, take the C and give it to Winfield, in my opinion. Yeah. That was actually the first name that popped into my head when replacing Devin White with Levante David, obviously having the first one. But let's talk about Kyle Trask now and Rashad White as well. And, it was good getting to talk to Kyle for about 15, 20 minutes. Yeah. We don't see him as much, obviously. We will see a lot of him now with this year. And I don't know, it's just very interesting. He's pretty I don't know. I didn't get phased or anything like that. Just kind of casual, kind of chill. I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing. But honestly, the first thing that jumps out to me, I'm kind of jumping around here with Kyle Trask, and I asked him this as well. When you're a quarterback of a team, by default, you are a leader.
Yeah.
It's just the way it works. And
Yeah.
in this battle with Baker Mayfield, Baker has the Heisman accolades and was a starting quarterback, where Kyle has worked his way up. He's a little bit more on the quiet side.
Yeah.
So I'm just curious how it's going to work with him as a leader. If he's got to get these guys into shape, and it's like, I don't know, can Kyle Trask really tell Mike Evans, like, hey, Mike, you got to do this better? He's Mike Evans. He's, everything that comes with Mike Evans. Chris Godwin as well. So I'm curious, like, how he's going to be as a leader. But, Scott, I'm just curious what your takeaway was from Kyle Trask press conference.
Yeah, I asked him a question, and, Clyde Christensen said this multiple times, that he called him a deliberate learner. Right. And you can kind of take that to mean a slow learner. So it can almost be an insult depending on how you interpret that. And I asked him about it, and I think he was very polite. And I don't think he wanted to attack or throw Clyde under the bus, whatever. But, and I thought he did a good job of handling. In other words, I blitzed him, right? I blitzed Kyle Trask with the question. And I think he picked up the blitz really well. He called out the right protection scheme. He got rid of the ball quickly. I think he did a really good job on his feet of avoiding that. And I think had I asked Baker Mayfield with Mayfield's personality, if Kyle Trask had Mayfield's personality, I think it would have been a little bit more combative, not necessarily towards me, but towards Clyde. He would have probably been a little dismissive. Well, that's his opinion, blah, 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 whatever. I think Trask did a pretty good job of kind of eluding the rush a little bit. He said, I do like to go over things and be meticulous about it and really have that understanding. And I think that stems from a really good place. This is a job for him. This is a passion for him. He loves the game of football. That's evident. He's not the kind of guy to wear his emotions on his sleeve. He has a completely different personality than Baker Mayfield. He's more laid back. Yeah. And that's okay. Brad Johnson was kind of like that too. Brad Johnson was not a rah-rah guy, right. Was very kind of soft-spoken. His demeanor reminds me a lot of Brad Johnson, as a matter of fact. And he was a damn good quarterback for the Bucs, got in the first Super Bowl. So I'm okay with him being like that. I don't think you need to be that fiery rah-rah guy. I like that. I gravitate towards that myself. But you don't have to be that way, right? The Tom Brady, the LFG, Brady was intense. And I don't think Kyle Trask is that intense, but I think he answered that question the right way. He didn't scoff at it, didn't dismiss it. He actually kind of embraced it, right? Yeah. But also clarified what, by his definition, what deliberate means.
Yeah,
and I thought he did a good job answering the question.
Yeah, because I know like a couple people in the media, like Greg Allman, Rick Stroud was on it too, where they were kind of saying that like deliberate doesn't necessarily mean slow. It means a little bit more like methodical and meticulous and really diving into it. So, and you know what? Kyle Trask explained it for himself. So I don't need to speak for Kyle Trask. And
right.
We're just going to play the video and you can make the decision for yourself. Yeah. So the Kyle Trask deliberate learner saga.
Yeah.
Some might take that as a slow learner if they interpret it that way. How did that comment sit with you?
There's, you can take whatever you want at face value. But, for me, I'm just concerned about, am I understanding the concepts and the offense fully? And I love to just really dive into a playbook and, learn the ins and outs of every single play. I feel personally, the more I know about the play, where to go with the ball in certain situations, where to go with the ball, certain types of defenses, I'm just going to be able to play that much faster and that much more confidently. So you can call it a deliberate learner, you call it whatever you want, but I'm going to put in that extra time to make sure I know every little thing and all the ins and outs of every single play that I run when I'm on the field.
Yeah. I think it's going to boil down to one thing, Matt, for Baker Mayfield or Kyle Trask. With Todd Bowles as the quarterback. Now, he wants the quarterback to make plays, but he is not as no risk it, no biscuit as Bruce Arians was, right? And we can agree to that. And even Dave Canales coming from the Pete Carroll kind of defensive mindset. of an offensive style of play up there in Seattle. It's going to come down to which quarterback protects the ball better, which quarterback does not put the team in jeopardy of losing. Because Dave Canales does not necessarily want the quarterback to win the game. He wants the offense to win the game. That might be with the running back getting 30 carries a game, Matt. That may be with the quarterback throwing for 350 yards or 150 yards. As long as the offense wins the game from doing their part to put enough points on the board to win the game, that's all that matters. But the surefire way to lose games is turn the ball over. And so I think Kyle Trask, his pedigree at Florida was not turning the ball over. He had a pretty good interception touchdown ratio at Florida. And I think if he can have that type of success, he has just as good a shot at beating out Baker Mayfield if Mayfield turns the ball over a little bit more despite his experience.
Yeah, I think it's interesting with Kyle Trask because he talked a lot about consistency. I need to be consistent. I just want to be consistent with the play calling and how to run certain things. And I think to a degree, whoever is the most consistent out of all of this can win the job. And now part of being consistent is that you're not turning the ball over. And I think it's easy to shy away from Kyle Trask because Baker Mayfield is kind of all of that fire and brimstone that makes you naturally kind of gravitate to him. But I think if Kyle Trask just keeps doing what he's doing, it's tough to say who has the advantage in the situation. Because on the one hand, Baker was a starter, has played with really good talent, even in the NFL. That experience goes a long way. But on the flip side, Kyle Trask has been here. He's been in the organization. Yeah. He's familiar with Tampa. Like, there's going to be just that moving process for Baker Mayfield. I'm sure that goes into a lot.
He knows Mike Evans. He knows Chris Godwin. He knows Ryan Jensen. He knows Tristan Wirfs.
He might not rep with them a billion trillion times, but he at least has worked with them. And he was in that quarterback room with Tom Brady. Even if he didn't say a word all season and just stared at Tom Brady while Tom prepared, you could even learn something from that. And I'm sure he's had conversations with Tom and, he's picked his brain and obviously learned a lot more things. Baker Mayfield didn't have that. Baker Mayfield came in and he was the number one guy. So having Tom Brady in your corner is something that only Kyle Trask can really understand, and Matt Castle and a couple of other Brian Hoyers, guys like that. So that's a big advantage for Kyle Trask as well. So it's tough to say who has the balance.
That's a fantastic point. Probably the most experienced quarterback and successful quarterback that Baker Mayfield has had direct exposure to was Matthew Stafford for 1 month in LA at the end of last year. It was Sam Darnold and Matt Corral and PJ Walker in Carolina. Before that, he was the face of the franchise for those years in Cleveland. And was the starting quarterback from day one when they made him the first overall pick. So that's an interesting point, Matt, that maybe, those are some aces up the sleeve that Kyle Trask has, and we'll see. We can sit here and pick apart the 3 of 9 for 23 yards showing in the fourth quarter of the Falcons game all we want. Kyle Trask, and he even admitted today, he was in that game and it was over before he knew it. He was in there for 5 minutes and boom, that's his NFL experience as a regular season quarterback. And there's not a lot to go on there. Right. But we'll see. I think it's going to be a 2-man race. I don't think they're going to draft a quarterback until day 3. So I think it's going to primarily be a 2-man race the way they're setting it up between Kyle Trask and Baker Mayfield. It's going to be interesting to see and fascinating to cover in training camp.
And you know what? This is the biggest opportunity in Kyle Trask's NFL career. He may never get this opportunity to go from third string, kind of afterthought. No disrespect to Kyle Trask, but when Tom Brady's there, no one's thinking about Kyle Trask. So all of a sudden, you have to be one guy to be the starter of an NFL team that won a Super Bowl within the last 3 years. That is a huge, huge opportunity that doesn't really happen to anyone in his type of situation, going from third string to being a starter. So Trask, actually, we have video of him answering your question, talking about working with Dave Canales, just this opportunity in general. So let's get to it.
What did you get from that, and did it seem like it was over before it even began because you weren't even in there for an entire quarter?
Yeah, I mean, not really being able to get some real game reps. Obviously, the game didn't mean a whole lot for us at that point in the season in terms of playoff contentions and things like that. But just for me to be out there getting some real game reps, just kind of reminded me so much of why I love playing football. Like, just being out there, it wasn't scout team anymore. It wasn't practice reps, just being out there live action. It was awesome. And just great experience for me to because, prior to that, it's only been preseason reps and scout team and whatever I get in practice. But to really see some live bullets and get a better feel for the speed of the game was, I think, huge for me.
Good.
I'm very, very excited about this new offense. I'm loving every part of it so far. And if you look back to what they were able to do in Seattle last year, it's a very quarterback-friendly offense. And, they do a great job of tying the run and the pass game together, putting themselves in the best position possible. And, I think that's going to be very good for the people in this building. I noticed this morning, it's going to be a very young team, a lot of new faces. So it's going to be very important for us to have, not necessarily a simpler system, but a system that allows us to play fast and play confidently. For me, this is a good opportunity for me, like you said, and a great opportunity for me to compete with someone like Baker, who's definitely proven himself in this league. So it'll be very fun to get to know him and compete with him every day. But yeah, for me, I always try to be as consistent as I can. Try to keep I'm always trying to build my routine squared away as tight as I can. So it's just very important for me to really lock that in at a time like now and try to make myself as productive as possible to help this team in the end and hopefully help the overall success of this team.
Yeah. We'll see. I'm excited to see the OTAs, to see this new offense come to life. It's always, exciting as a journalist covering this team. This is my 28th year covering the Buccaneers. I've forgotten more Buccaneer football than I can remember at this stage, but it is fun to see a new offense or new defense and to see that. I remember when John Gruden came to Tampa Bay via trade, Matt, in 2002, and all of a sudden this predictable kind of, Mike Shula, Les Steckel, Clyde Christensen offense that operated under Tony Dungy, where the defense literally just beat the living hell out of the offense every single day. You want to know why the Bucs offense stunk under Tony Dungy? Because the Bucs defense whipped their ass in practice every day. That's why. They had no confidence that anything would work on Sunday because it didn't work during the week. Okay, so that's how lopsided the team was. Now all of a sudden John Gruden's offense comes in. I remember the first OTA, Brad Johnson, under center, Michael Pittman. You had Keenan McCardell wasn't there yet, but you had Keyshawn Johnson, you had Joe Jaravicius, you had Ken Dilger, Ricky Dudley, and all of a sudden they're doing some play action stuff. And I remember a pass sailing over the head of John Lynch, and the offense for the first time in a long time beat the defense in practice. And John Lynch saying, "Whoa, okay, this Gruden guy, we might have something here." And it took the Bucs offense a while to kind of gel together. But by the end of the season, they were rolling. I think they beat San Francisco something like 31-6 in the first round of the playoffs. And then, of course, the Super Bowl, everybody looks at the defense. Well, if you take away all the pick sixes in that game, Matt and Pewter people, you'll remember the Bucs offense actually scored 28 points all by themselves. They would have beat the Raiders just 28-21, even without the pick sixes from Brooks and Dwight Smith. But so it's going to be interesting to see this offense come to life and be different. See some misdirection, some waggles, some bootlegs, some quarterback run game, maybe. On third downs, quarterback, booting and running for the sticks. So I'm excited to see it. And by all accounts, from what we heard from Trask, from Tristan Wirfs, and Rachaad White today, they're excited too. Rashad White has a chance to, in the words of Jason Licht, be a stud in this offense, Matt.
Yes, he does. Let's just get to the video. A confident but humble Rachaad White. Got a lot of exciting things coming to him this season.
I mean, for me, it's just I'm blessed that that Mr. Light feels that way about me. Honestly, I mean, I expect myself to be a stud. That's just kind of who I am. I put that kind of pressure and expectation on myself, especially the journey I had to take. But that feel good. That, like I said, Mr. Light, everybody upstairs believes in me, and you know, it's just up to me. I've got a great opportunity ahead of me. And as well as the team. So it's just up to me to do what I do.
You go into this season as the top running back in the room. How's it feel now to be RB1 along with the number, and just to really be able to showcase all of your abilities just with the more reps that you'll be getting?
I mean, for me, it's just a blessing to be able to have an opportunity. For me, I think that's how I go about things, to be RB1. I wouldn't say I'm RB1 yet. We got a lot of great guys in the room, but we all going to compete. I like the energy, like the good vibes in the room right now. Chase and meeting them earlier, and Sneak and Keyshawn and Pat, and it's a good room. I'm pretty sure we probably have, but yeah, just be able to compete, things like that. Yeah, that's all you can ask for, opportunity in life.
When you hear that?
For me, I don't even think about the past. Like, that's just how my mindset is. Like you said, you're part of the worst rush. I mean, it happens. It's football. I don't kind of think about that. I'm kind of like, focus on the new year, new things. A lot of plays that I made last year still kind of people love and go viral. I'm not even focused on that. Like, that was last year. So you got a new, chance, new opportunity that we're facing this year, and most definitely won't be the last in rushing this year, though.
Yeah. Good stuff there from Rashad White. We appreciate everybody contributing today with some great questions, great comments too. And of course, we love the super chats. Darius Miller, it's going to be similar to Pittsburgh's situation last year. Yeah, I think so. With Kenny Pickett coming in, the offense kind of coming together, and having some different elements to it with a different quarterback. I mean, no Bruce Arians scheme, no Tom Brady. All good things must come to an end. There must be change, evolution. You can't stay stagnant. You can't stay the same in this league. And we'll see what transpires there. If you are, if you're looking to invest in this team from a draft standpoint, and you want to find out who the Bucs are going to draft, there's no better place to do it than right here at Pewter Report TV. We're going to have our live draft show April 27th, 28th, and 29th, streaming on our YouTube channel. Make sure you just hit subscribe right now while you're doing it. When you're on the channel, hit subscribe to Pewter Report TV. Make sure you're liking all of our videos too. That helps us with the algorithm, gets us in front of more awesome Pewter people like you guys. And also, if you're going to invest your money, well, there's one place that you want to do that. It's over at our friends at Immuni Financial.
At Amuni Financial, we help you live in the now.
Dude, congratulations. We're so happy for you.
Thank you. And even though the now may feel very different, you still need to plan for the future.
How's retirement treating you?
Oh, just fantastic.
I know I say it all the time, but you really got to come up to Colorado.
Let's do it.
All right.
Yeah.
We can help you develop that plan to keep you on track, so you can still prepare for tomorrow, today. Amuni Financial. Plan ahead, stay ahead.
Matt, I have some breaking news. I'm actually going to Colorado. I'm going to do it. I'm going to Colorado, and I'm going there for my 10-year wedding anniversary with Ashley in May.
No kidding.
So, yeah.
That's awesome.
I know. So I'm going there. Now, unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to retire out to Colorado. I'm not leaving Pewter Report, not yet, because I don't have enough money saved up. But the good news is I'm an Immuni Financial customer, and they've got me well on my way. Immuni Financial can help you plan ahead and stay ahead, not just in Tampa Bay, not just in Florida, across the country, Pewter people. So do what I did. Give Immuni Financial a call. I am thrilled with my financial investments with Immuni. Even in today's kind of rocky, shaky economy, they've got me steered in the right direction. 1-800-868-6864. That's 1-800-868-6864. Or visit them on the web at immuni.com.
All right. Scott, I feel like we had the best show ever.
Yeah, I really do.
I mean, we got to give credit to Tristan Wirfs and Rachaad White and Kyle Trask, but this was probably the best show ever. And if you like watching great shows /podcast/ websites that have great content, make sure you follow us on our social media at Pewter Report on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, and of course our YouTube channels at Pewter Report TV. Please do us a favor and like and subscribe if you like our podcast, if you like all the videos we put up. We're always churning out content both on social media and at pewterreport.com. But that's going to do it for us on today's show. For Scott Reynolds, I'm Matt Matera saying thank you, everybody, for watching, and we will see you tomorrow at 4 p.m. for another edition of the Pewter Report podcast. Out.
Out. The draft show is back. Tune in.